awesome! How awesome was that? Look at that fish. Oh man. I was throwing that swim jig and I'm like, you know, it's super shallow. It's not even a foot deep, but there's shade pockets. So I picked my punching rod up, got that flipping bait, stuck an absolute pig, super shallow water. My line hit 3/4 ounce weight, foot deep. Before it even hit the bottom, which is a millisecond, that line just went pow. That's a stud right there. That's an absolute stud. Based off of that fish, I think we might flip in there a little bit more. We'll run down this shore and focus our attention on all those little shady areas. Man, it's shallow, but one fish like that and that changes the whole game. That might be the clue we needed. I'm using that Levante Atlas. It's a 7'10", and it is an absolute big cover, big fish rod, multi-purpose. And right now I'm using it with my flipping weight and my flipping bait, 65-pound line, and you just hammer those fish through that thick cover. We're gonna make a little adjustment here just based on the fact that we're fishing water that is basically 8 to 15 inches deep. And the cover's not real thick. There's enough openings where you can pitch in there, and if you hit the right spot, you don't need a lot of weight to bring it down. So I'm dropping down to a 5/8 ounce weight. I gotta retie this snell knot on my flipping hook. And I'm gonna bump up a size on my bait, and I'll show you that here when I'm done tying this knot. And one little tip that I like to do is leave a little extra on that tag, just in case something slips a little bit, because that's not going to affect anything when it comes to your fishing. And another thing I've found over the years is when you put that rubber stop in there, it doesn't have to be so tight that you can barely slide the weight up and down the line. You want it so when you set the hook, that weight can hit the bottom of that shaft and make the hook go straight up in the air. If it's too tight, that weight doesn't want to slide down all the time. Okay, so I'm going to upsize my bait here. Again, it's super shallow. I want a big profile that moves a lot of water because this water is dark green, full of floating algae, hard to see. So that's what we're going to throw in there. Oh, right underneath the side of the boat. Oh, God, I hope you could see that. Those cattails shook when that fish hit it. Right away, that change put a fish in the boat, right over the side of the boat. The key to that right there, we re-rigged, took our time, made a couple casts up front. Those Raptors, they kept the boat sitting here without moving. Those fish had no idea. That's why I can fish 3 feet off the side and catch fish. We're just sitting here. We're almost like just a dock or a piece of shade, and those fish don't even know that we're gonna set the hook on them. Just gonna take a quick look at those Raptors. Now they have us pinned down here. We've been sitting for 5 minutes, haven't moved. When you're fishing this thick, shallow cover like this, stealth is crucial. And those Minn Kota Raptors, that's what they give me. That one gave me a second chance. Again, those Raptors, I missed that first bite. It's like they're just grabbing the tail of it and swimming with it. They won't take it. Put the Raptors down, gave me that second chance, and resulted in a nice fish. Oh man, did you see that? Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. That bait hit the water and the cattails just shook. Holy cow. Flipping big weights, big baits into shallow, thick, green, ugly water, but beautiful water. You gotta watch your line because when that hits, the weeds are shaking, but that line's also popping like you know they have it. We're gonna get this rig back up again. And just remember, if you're on any type of bite and it's not going, those fish probably didn't move real far. They could be shallower, deeper, different type of cover. But I was on a frog bite and I was fishing the sloppy stuff out in front and the fish were not going. And even though it's super shallow, I picked up that flipping stick, heavy line, weight, flipping hook. Even though the water's skinny, that's where those fish pulled. And right now it might just be because that shade is in those pockets and their mood's not quite where it should be. So they're just kind of tucked there, just kind of sitting around. And this is a total reaction bite. In that shallow water, they're just positioned by those cattails in those little pockets. And when that bait hits, it goes right by their face and it's instantly just grab it. So always mix it up, keep trying stuff to keep getting bites. You notice there's that little clump there, and I figured that's a floating chunk, and they love to hide under that. Sure enough, that bait broke through the surface and it just kept going. This bait is long enough where I can actually chop that end off that's all tore up, re-rig it, and keep using it. That's nice when you get more than 2 or 3 fish on a flipping bait. If you like this episode and learned some tips, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, and like always, below here are links to a bunch of products I used today. If you use those links, it helps me out. It doesn't cost you any more. Until next time, good luck on the water.